Hi. So if you saw my most recent shorts, you'll see my haul from this week, and it's 2 weeks worth of comics. So there's about 30 comics. So mm. So my whole review show this week will be split into two halves because I thought I'll try and read as much as I can, but I'll stick to like companies. So I'll read them by companies. So I've read Marvel and Image, which is this big pile here, and this is my DC, Titan, and Dark Horse pile here. It's about 11 comics here, and I got 2000 AD and Judge Dredd, which I'll do a different video for at some point. So that one will hopefully be within the sometime this week for DC and the others. So this video, this review video, is just for Image and Marvel, and surprisingly for me, I am trying to love Marvel again, and there's a few that I've got my attention recently. I've got 5 Marvel comics, so wow. And so let's start. So yeah, we'll start with Marvel. So first up, I I've been umming and ahhing about this one, and I decided to bite the bullet, and that's not a pun, even though it is the Punisher. So I got Marvel Knights, the Punisher, and because they did the second printing of issue 1, and the number 2 came out this week. I love these covers. And I must say, this was definitely an art buy because I'm a huge fan of Dan Panosian, but I do like Jimmy Palmiotti as well. And I know everyone's going, oh, but why have you not got the Red Band one? That's one that all the cool kids are buying. It's Red Band. I do not like buying a comic that I can't physically see. So I will get that, but I'll get that when it comes out in trade paperback, which I think is going to be May or June next year. So I must like, and I'm umming and ahhing about whether to get the ongoing series. So it's $5.99 for the first issue for 32 pages. So I don't know. But yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'll talk about this. So this is the set in the Marvel Knights universe of the world to come, which the Black Panther one's set up. So it's like about so many years in the future, and the art is just gorgeous. It really is everything that you want. Dan Panosian has come on such a long way since his Image days back in the 90s when he was like um, a Lee Field clone. He's really found his own style. He's got this nice, almost like European heavy metal style. So I enjoyed it up to a point. So I'll explain why. I'm going to get it, carry it on with it. Um, and I like the setup. The one thing that I find disappointing is some of the dialogue. Some of the dialogue comes across as a bit forced, a bit clunky, which surprised me because I have a lot of respect for Jimmy Palmiotti. I think he's a good writer. I love the stuff he did with like Jonah Hex. And he did a series called Monolith. And he's done like loads of projects with Joe Quesada. And some of the dialogue just felt really trite, and it's like he was trying to force a pun into the dialogue, which felt unnatural. Um, so yeah, so the plot is really fun. So there's this drug going around that turns people into zombies, basically, and that's the jumping on point with this story. Something happens with Frank Castle with this drug that's involved when he's just basically going around killing all the bad guys, and he comes under control and influence of this guy through this drug. And so these two issues, he's basically like this kind of like zombie character, and he keeps on trying to fight it, but then they spray him with the drug again, and he goes back to the zombie state, doing basically hits for this cartel. Um, and it loosely ties into the Black Panther world because it's got um, what's it called, Everett, the FBI agent, and that's fine. But there's little bits where I'm like, just Kristen Steve going, "Oh, please, this is cheesy." Like I said, I just expected more, but it's a fun read. The plot itself, the story idea itself, the concept, great, no problem with it. Just like I said, there's certain panels of dialogue where I'm like just going groaning, and that's not a good sign. So art, 10 out of 10. The art is perfect. Story, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's by no means bad. It's just a bit clunky. But if it might pick up next issue, but they've not got many issues to carry on with it. So yeah, just expecting more from the story, from the dialogue. But apart from that, so if we round it off, let's say it's a 7 out of 10 if you round it all down together. So that's 1 and 2 of Punisher, Marvel Knights, The World to Come. And then we carry on with my love affair with the Mortal 4. So this one focuses on the gods that are left behind in Asgard, because obviously Thor has now just become immortal. And so there's like this vacant space in Asgard where what's been left by him. So I didn't realize it was a guest artist, but the guest artist is really good. It's Juan Cabell. It's very different to Pascal Ferry, but it's still really, really good. Um, it's very clean, and it focuses on the Warriors 4 and Thor's son as well. And at first, I'm not going to get into this. This is going to be a slog to read. It's more like old school Thor, which I'm not a huge fan of. But it was good. It read quite quick. It moved with a good flow and with a good pace. And there's a good plot point in it. And I really kind of enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm still loving Mortal Force. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. And if you've been sitting on this thinking, oh, we should have buy it, I recommend give it a go. You won't be disappointed. It's only 4 issues deep so far. And then talking about new titles, ish. This is Infernal Hulk #1. And again, this was an art base. It's by Philip Kennedy Johnson and fantastic, gorgeous art by Nick Klein. So this is my biggest bugbear, apart from price points with Marvel, is how they keep on relaunching with #1s, but not starting with a fresh story point. So they kind of like drop you in the middle of a plot, even though it's a #1. That's what they did with the Fantastic Four. That's why I just gave up on that. And they've done the same with this. They set up all this big, huge groundwork in the previous series of Incredible Hulk, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. And the only reason I stopped that is that they had great art with Nick Klein, and then he was off for like 10 issues, and then they had shit, rubbish, crap, fucking awful art by Danny Ells. He's awful. Why do they keep giving him work? He's horrible. He's this century's Al Milgrom. He's that bad. Yeah, I don't like Al Milgrom. But if I'll give it a try, the story, it's brutal. Like he does like this one of the Hulk does a thunderclap. Let me just look at that panel. And it makes this guy's head literally explode. It's very savage. Like I said, most of all, that's really bloodthirsty. And yet these aren't Red Band books. This one's not bloodthirsty, but the previous issues have been. These aren't Red Band books, and yet there's more blood and guts in this issue of Hulk than there's been in any Red Band comic. The story's intriguing, but I do feel like I'm missing half the plot because of what's gone before. It should have started really, really from the ground fresh. Don't mind the same writer staying on the same artist. If you're going to do that, make it completely new, so we understand what we're getting into. So for that reason, I am going to knock a point off. If I had a better idea of the whole story, this would have got a 10 out of 10. But because it leaves new readers in the dark a bit, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's still a very, very high score because I'd say this is one of Marvel's best comics right now. And I don't often sing the praises of Marvel, but this was fantastic. Just like I said, it's not new reader friendly. This is very misleading. It's not a #1. And then another new Marvel comic, Nova Centurion, spinning out of Imperial, which I enjoyed the first 2 and a bit issues, and the last 1.5 issues of Imperial were a shambles. I have not got a clue what was going on. So this is by Jed MacKay. I've got a love him, hate him relationship with Jed MacKay. I've found he's good with solo characters, but he's crap on team books. Fortunately, this is a solo one, so it's written by Jed MacKay with arts by an artist I've never heard of, Alvaro Lopez. And I kind of like the artist. The art's got a very clean style. There's some panels what a bit wonky, a bit dull, but for the most part, as the story progresses, he almost gets almost like a Steve Rude inking style to his art. And I think the thing that threw me initially, I was expecting this big cosmic Marvel comic, which I love. I love Cosmic Marvel, and I get that, but it suddenly takes a turn after the 4th page, and it becomes almost like a Justice League International humor book. Once I got used to that, I had a blast. So basically, Richard Rider, or Dick Rider, as he's known in the porn industry. Sorry, I had to. He's got his helmet now embodies all the thoughts and memories of every person who lived on the planet where the helmet's from. But he needs to get money, get funds to buy something to power up the helmet. I don't know, wiffly waffly, timey wimey, science fiction mumbo jumbo. So he basically becomes like a hero for hire, a galactic hero for hire. What did make me laugh, happy? Pip appears, and I've loved Pip from from the 70s Jim Starlin Warlock run. So happy that he's in here. It's a good, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, the films. This has that same kind of wheeling space adventure. It's fun with a capital F. Yeah, I'll give this 8 out of 10. Arts from Marvel, they've not let me down. I don't know who the artist is, but he's doing a really good job. The only thing that grates a bit, some of the coloring's a bit off. The artist makes a lot of the faces look plasticky by putting shiny spots where they shouldn't be. But that's my only negative. Apart from that, it's a really fun jumping on point. I understood what was going on here. Yeah. And yeah, 8 out of 10, really fun. So that's on my Marvel. Positive, mostly positive. So there you go. I don't hate Marvel like I've been trying to tell people. Geeky old hog. So we'll move on to Image. And how many Image comics have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 Image comics. I think Image is my favourite company at the moment, I must say. So we'll go through these. We'll start with, I've not got it in any order. So another thing I like, $4.99, but it's cardstock cover. And this is Skin Breaker. What I do love about Skin Breaker, I've mentioned this before. On my books from my pull box order, I don't choose my covers. I'm not precious about what covers I get. So sometimes I get a variant, which is hey, that's a nice surprise. And other times I get the A cover, which is hey, that's a nice surprise. This is a variant cover, but it's done by the artist David Finch, so I'm happy with that. So again, this leaps forward in time to the previous story, like the second issue did from the first one. So it's focusing on this guy who's become the chieftain. So it's like moved on decades again, and the whole of this culture, this race, has changed under his rule. Instead of just being living by fighting and killing, he's shown them how to do farming and cultivating and using natural resources. The story is fun, but it is quite basic. You're not reading this for the story. You're reading this for the art because the art is just truly, truly exceptional. And I was a David Finch meh kind of person before. I'd never understood the hype, but this shows if you give an artist time to cook, time to take just to do their own ideas, because I think apparently it took about 8 years to do this. Um, it becomes something special. The amount of detail in this is just so detailed and beautiful to look at. And the colouring as well is wonderful by Leone and Wootton. Yeah, Annalisa Leone is the colorist, and Russ Wootton is the letterer, and the lettering as well is gorgeous. It's a really good adventure comic. It's very much like something you read in Heavy Metal magazine. It's got a very European sensibility to it. And like I said, the story isn't anything to really sink home about, but the art carries the weight, does the heavy lifting for this comic. And that's no bad thing. Yeah, really enjoyable. And I'm going to carry on till it finishes. 8 out of 10. This was so satisfying. Perfect ending to a 4-issue series. So this is Invisible Man issue 4 by James Tynion IV, who is one of the best writers out there at the moment. Some gorgeous, fantastic art by Danny. Danny has developed her style where she's become like a more accessible and more stylish modern Frank Miller. She knows how to do light and shade so well. Perfect artist for a book focusing on the Invisible Man. So it's Universal Monsters Invisible Man. It's basically like his origin story before the film starts. Oh, it's wonderful. I don't want to go too much into it, but he's the scariest one because he's an absolute psychopath before he even becomes the Invisible Man. It's basically what would happen if the American Psycho was a brilliant scientist who learned how to turn things invisible. And that's the basic premise. It's shocking in some of the pages, and yet it's satisfying in that it is that shocking. And then it finishes on the point where the film starts. Genius, just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I've really enjoyed each Universal Monsters series. with varying degrees of excitement and anticipation. Like The Mummy was a bit of a dip, but I still enjoyed it. But this is a high point. I would give this a 9 out of 10, but the series as a whole, I would actually give the series as a whole a 10 out of 10. If you've not been buying the series, wait for the hardback what's coming out. You will not be disappointed. And the new one coming out after that is The Phantom of the Opera with Martin Simmons on artwork again. And here's a little sneak preview. So I've put that down on my list for my order box. Yeah, I just love the Universal Monsters series of miniseries that they're doing. Can't wait for them to do Wolfman, to be honest. Okay, and after that, we'll move on to Geiger, part of the Ghost Machine, of course. So on to issue 18 now. It's been quietly building up the numbers. So it's written by Jeff Johns and Gary, as per usual. But the 18 pages of the story are done by Eduardo Pansica, who did the last issue. And Gary Frank does 19 to 22. The art is okay. It's not bad, but when you compare it to the last few pages by Gary Frank, it feels lacking. But there are some really great gory bits. So basically, Geiger's been kidnapped and being held, and basically that's the plot. That's the plot. But it delves not into his background through speech bubble, through boxes of text, etc., and speech. Focuses more on this guy who's got him imprisoned. It's a really fun, good story. It's a really good story, but I can't tell you much of it without giving away revelations about different characters in this. Very satisfying. I've never not enjoyed Geiger. I would like to see. Sometimes the pace can be a bit slow, but I can forgive it because it's an enjoyable ride. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Really, really good. This one I'm enjoying more and more because it's getting more into the mythology of the characters and into the characters like pulling the strings. So this is Hornsby and Halo. I did drop this after the first 3 issues, but I ended up getting them all, and some up to date now. And the regular roster, Peter Snejberg, is back on. And the art, his art, I just really get a buzz from his art. So, as I've mentioned before, it's about these 2 children who are basically one is basically like an angel, and the other one's basically works for hell. But they were switched at birth. So the one who came from hell, she was raised by almost like these goody two shoes kind of like Christian couple, and the one who's came from heaven, he's been raised by this really corrupt man and wife, and the heavenly bodies have done this just to see if they will if they can be turned by being put in the unnatural settings. But this has really ramped up the story at the moment. So there's this demon and this angel have come down just try and meddle and to plan out their lives so that they can take control of them. And it's become almost like this really cool like supernatural road movie. And just some of the artwork, Snejberg has really elevated his art. He took a few week issues off, and I think it's paid dividends. But I'm invested. I'm enjoying the mythology. What I'm getting from this, it's the same excitement and enjoyment I used to get from Books of Magic back in the day when Peter Snejberg was on that. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm really pleased I've got back to it. So I do recommend trying the collector's editions. It's a very slow burn initially, but it's picked up steam recently. And this one might be controversial take. This is news from the Fallout. I know the past few issues, Geeky Hog and Comics Pro, who, if you've not subscribed to their channels, do so. They've kind of like they fell off it. They're saying it was dragging. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the last issue as well. I mean, different strokes for different folks, but I will say this issue angered me a bit. I like the silhouette artwork. I have no problem with that. I think it's very good. It's original, creates a great atmosphere. But then this is the same thing what you get from that Alpha Flight comic, Snowblind, but it's just like completely all the pages were white. So they have black page, black page, just speech. There's a bit of illumination on this page, and then back to black. It's bad enough. It's enough when you have silhouettes. Fine, I can live with that. But when you have page upon page upon page, just blackness and text, that grated. That annoyed me. So it ruins me enjoying the finale of this. The finale was very weak, I must admit. It didn't wrap up as I wanted it to. This could have been a fantastic horror comic, like a sister comic to another Image comic, which I'll be reviewing next, Everything Dead and Dying. But they stumbled at the hurdle with this. So I'm going to give this issue a frustrated 6 out of 10. I'm going to give that overall series a 7 out of 10. So moving on to this one, Everything Dead and Dying by Tate Bromble and Jacob Phillips. And I like Jacob Phillips because he's the son of Sean Phillips, but he also lives in Manchester, so he's a local to me. But that cover is just gorgeous. In some ways, he's becoming. I actually prefer his artwork to his dad, which is great. I mean, his dad must be so proud of him. And the colours in this are by Pip Martin, and the lettering is perfect because it's Aditya Bidikar, who's one of the best letterers in the business. This is how you do horror. Horror isn't just about how shocking something can look. It's about how it can rip you apart. It can break your heart, and this is what it is. It's about this farmer there's been this big outbreak, like a zombie virus has taken, and so the whole town is just come overrun by zombies. But it's not. It's a very original take on zombies. Once they've eaten, they're fine, and they're like sedated for hours and hours. Which is the same with his husband and his daughter have been turned as well. So he's been like he feeds them meat. He's never really expressed what type of meat he feeds them, and so he kind of like has control over them. But something happens to his husband, who's a zombie, and then something happens as well to his daughter. I'm not going to give too much away, but the interaction between him and the memories he's got of his past relationship when they were all human, and then these intruders who suddenly appeared, who were basically trying to force their viewpoints on what you should do with zombies onto him. It's like these two battering rams fighting each other, and it just explodes into this mess. What could have been avoided on both sides. It's the human reaction that Tate Bromble's written in this that makes it hit harder than, like I said, something like this would. You can relate to this, especially if you're parents. It made me choke up reading this because I've got a daughter, and if something like this happened to my daughter, I think I'd flip like him. I'd be in denial that she was a zombie. Just want to, because your love of the child can overcome whatever happens to your child. You just want to, you're there for your child 100%. Wow, this was a gut punch of a story. It's a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect book. It's $4.99, but you get 30 pages of story, and each page is just glorious. And the story, dialogue, everything. It's a perfect comic. 10 out of 10. Another comic that's perfect is Feral. I turned Geeky Old Hog onto this, and I think he would say that he's not been disappointed with it. It's wonderful. 18 issues, and these characters are more engaging, more human than anything in any other comic, and the characters are cats. And up to the last few pages of the last issue, you thought, oh, there's a bit of light. Things are going to turn around now. And it does turn around, but not necessarily for the better. And this is more of a character piece, this issue. It goes into the machinations of the cats that are in the pack who have come in to the pet store. And the whole ecosystem of the pack has changed as well. The pecking order, etc. Through lies, through deceit, through power plays. There's not really any horror in it, this issue. Like I said, this is setting the stage for something else bigger in this story. It's like setting the pace for the next big story arc. It's wonderful. It's a masterclass in how to do a comic. 9 out of 10, just wonderful. And then for a complete change of pace, just checking. I'm just gonna have a drink. Complete change of pace. We've got Dreadnought Wars, Part 2 of 5. Like I said, I don't choose the covers, and I really like this cover. I think the artist is, I think it's Eric Knett. So yeah, happy with that cover. So this is Part 2 of the story that started last issue. Like I said, it's got very like Mad Max or Canon. If you remember the old 80s Canon action movies, that kind of vibe to it. It's cheesy as fuck. I love it. I love the energy. I know Comics Patrol hates the colouring. I adore the colours that she uses in this. It's wild, it's funky, it's freaky. I'm all for it. This is my fun read. I like I've said this every time I review this. I have no history at all with G.I. Joe, but this is just a fun escapist read. It's quick, it's punchy, especially when Tom Riley's on the art juices. The panel layouts are almost up to Nick Dragotta kind of levels of where it can do so much in small panels. It's great. It moves it along at a clip. If you've not been reading G.I. Joe, you are missing out on something. I'm the same. I'm a franchise snob. I hate it when I'm not a big fan of books that are licensed properties, but Skybound's proved me wrong with this, and they proved me wrong with Transformers. So yeah, 8 out of 10, really good fun. And then we have Ghost Pepper number 5. Majority of the book is done by Ludo Lullaby. He's the creator, writer, artist, and letterer. The only thing he doesn't do is colours, which is by Adriano Lucas. This is the closest thing you can get to an American manga comic. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's hard to. It's not. I don't even know how to explain it now. I can't. I must admit, this issue, it doesn't info dump, but it character dumps. There's a lot of new characters in this issue, so I felt a bit lost with all what's going on. Ooh, felt a bit overcome. The art's gorgeous, the dialogue's great, but I did feel a bit lost. So I'm going to deduct a point because of that. I feel like you should have drip fed some of the story beats in this issue into the next issue. But it's still a fun read. If you're not been reading this, you are missing out on one of the most original comics out there. The art is gorgeous, and it's a weird book about giant gods. This guy with unnatural powers who fights gods, mechas, aliens, and food trucks. So I'm going to give this a 7.5 7 out of 10, just because of the plot felt a bit muddied, but it's still very enjoyable, and we've got to carry on and see where it goes. And lastly, but like I said, it's not going to be the last after, because I'll be doing another video for these at some point. But the last one of Image is Exquisite Corpses number 7. I can't believe we're on number 7 already. So it flip flops with writers. This is overseen by Michael Walsh and James Tynion, and the art is always a different artist, but it's always got Michael Walsh doing the inking on it. So it's written by Michael Walsh, who's taken a predominant writing role of it this issue. Last time it was James Tynion, I think, or somebody else. And the art, so it's written by Michael Walsh with James Tynion, and art is by Claire Rowe with Michael Walsh. I was getting a bit jaded with the last issue. It just felt a bit same old, same proposition, but it's moved on a bit with this issue, and I had fun. I really had fun. So I've told you the setup before. It's one of my biggest hits of the year. So it's kind of like Le Purge kind of thing, which each state in America has their own serial killer, and they've got the one who gets the most kills. Basically, that state moves on to the next stage. And this was a blast. It was great. It was fun. I love that cover. Just when I was about to drop out, they pulled me back in with this issue. Like I said, I lost a bit of I waned a bit on my last issue, but issue 7, it's gone back up again. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. And that, to quote from Near Mint Condition, as they say, is that. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I will do a video for for DC, Dark Horse, and Titan when I've got around to reading them. I read those in a day, so I think I did well. Okay, bye.